you got them here, I'm going in.
Okay. Oh my God. One more time.
Had to take it all in for a second.
Took a long time to make this walk.
Let's go down to the end of the aisle and then keep right. Think of it as a runway. Okay, I've done this before.
Right in
Don't worry about the rain, it's a sign. It's good. I need to rain for our wedding day.
All right, Kenny. Is something you need? Normally these are parasols. Done. All right. No. Weather predictors are called meteorologists, and remember they have a great margin for forgiveness. With the people who didn't laugh, please lean over and ask what he just said.
Please stop.
All right.
Stop.
That's all right. That's all right. Something's ready.
Liquid sunshine.
This will pass. As a colleague of mine often says to those who are new to Judaism, welcome to 5,000 years of oppression and fundraising. We're so glad you could be here today. This is a reunion on so many levels. Zehayom asa Adonai nagilah v'nismecha bo. This is a day. I was gonna wave back. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us celebrate and rejoice together. In Psalm 90 it is written, help me to count all my days well. That is the true heart of wisdom. In modern abbreviations, that's called the YOLO Psalm. Some people got that? It means you only live once. Okay. But these people have a very good sense of humor. You need to get because I always start from the right. We want to... It works. Good. Okay. We're so grateful that all of you could be here to celebrate. As Dennis and Richard said to me, we planned a marriage first and a wedding second. That's a wonderful sense of priority. And we are so happy for them that we celebrate with them. And I was so proud to hear you applaud, okay? And I'll tell you why.
Sure.
You've heard these
I have a
before?
part.
Oh, you said, oh no. Some people get very frightened when they give up the script. Richard and Dennis stand beneath a chuppah that is open on all sides. The chuppah is the symbol of their home, but it is open on all sides to include everyone that is dear to them. And one has to be a friend to keep a friend. Or as someone once said to me, a friend is someone you like after you really know them. This side is doing a little better. We're so grateful for friends. Real friends stand the test of time. But we also hold on to mementos that give us a sense of sacredness and appreciation. These decorations are not random. The backdrop of fabric hanging from this chuppah has been within your family for at least 100 years. So if any of you have more specific history, please record it so that at the next wedding it can be passed on. We are a people of stories. We store them. We were an oral tradition before we ever became a written tradition. We hold on to our identity from what is passed on to us. And Richard and Dennis have held on to qualities that have been passed on to them from generation to generation. I have never met a couple that stalked each other without knowing it all their years. Okay? Clearly. Okay? This is the ultimate bashir. Okay? It loses something in translation, but it's your providential mate. Yeah, I put it loses something in translation. But if you take your right finger and move it to your upper lip in the center, everyone has to do this, even men, you'll find that there is a gap in the upper lip in the center. Okay? Those of you that are well studied in our tradition know that there is a famous midrash that no question is off the table. So one rabbi, probably made it to California many years later, said, if God creates us as his highest creation with freedom, what does God do? And the answer was, Hu mezaveg zivugim. He is matching mates. He sends an angel into the mother's womb. Feel you might remember. And that angel is in charge with the task of tutoring you with all the secrets that you are meant to know. And then at the moment if you're emerging into life, you are touched by the angel of forgetfulness. Right on the upper lip. So someone challenged God and said, why send two angels to contradict each other? It's inefficient. Okay? And the answer was, because it is your job from the moment of life for you to recapture all that God intended for you. The angelic kingdom is celebrating today that it took you long enough, but you finally found each other. You see, when it's really meant, we know. We know in our hearts that there can be no compromise. And so there today is a sense of joy for your patience, for your discipline, for your stubbornness. Okay? Because other people don't understand. But you knew. Something told you it wasn't right to compromise, to settle, to go against your heart and your instincts. And today, we congratulate you on doing so well. Now, we couldn't do that in a number of synagogue or churches because they don't know their history. In the ancient Greek theater, when a play was enjoyed, the cast members would hug all the actors. As time went by, there were injuries. The actors went on strike, and the government settled the strike on several conditions. Members of the audience could not leave their spot. They could stand, they could shout, but they could not leave their spot. And if they wanted to express affection, they could do a mock hug. You are surrounded today by the largest group hug you will ever know. These are all your Amen makers. Amen is actually a Hebrew abbreviation for El Melech Ne'eman. God is a faithful king. For thousands of years, that has not been easy for many of our people to say. But it is a test, and there is no life. Maimonides warns, there is no life without test. But the same word for a test in Hebrew, immortalized on the Hanukkah dreidel as Nes, that same word also means your banner and a miracle. We all are tested. We all show our banners. And looking back, we are the miracles. So we're grateful that you have included us today in this open symbol of your chuppah, in this day that defies prediction and Google Maps.
Well, she gave it to me. It was a present.
I like your shy relatives. So we have today a very special ketubah that we're going to read aloud. On the first day of the week, the 22nd day of Tammuz, in the year 5774, corresponding to the 20th day of July, in the year 2014 in Calistoga, California, Richard Martin Secunda, son of Pearl and Nathan, Aleichem Shalom, and Dennis J. Spivak, son of Celia, and Murray Aleichem Shalom, joined each other before family and friends to enter a mutual covenant as equal partners, and with love and compassion, each vowed to the other.
Today, I love you completely. As I did yesterday. And as I will tomorrow. I will be there for you when you need me most. I will hold you in my heart. Just as I hold you in my arms. I will share in your dreams, delight in your joys, and comfort you in your sorrows.
I will be your confidant, your counsel, your friend, and your lover. I shall honor your individual needs and shall cherish and love you throughout our married life together. When you are not within my sight, you will be within my thoughts. You are my dreams, you are my joy, you are my love. Our commitment to each other seals this document.
Beth, where's your guitar? This would be a wonderful time. Jump right in. Don't wait for me.
Waiting for my cue.
Would you like a nigun?
Pardon?
Would you like a melody?
I'll think of something.
Listen, this is an equal opportunity humming congregation. Okay. La 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 la. We're doing better. Don't walk ahead of me, I may not follow. Don't walk behind me, I may not lead. Just walk beside me and be my love. Together we'll walk in the path of the Lord. La 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 I always tell them at the Jewish camp. I told them to speak louder and they all went dead. I lost control. Beth, thank you so much. You're welcome. Okay, who's got my binder? I'm so sorry. I doubted your intelligence. Yes, believe me, only first of many. Okay, that's my wife. There's a warning in the Talmud. Any man who thinks he's the Messiah, quickly find his wife. They're mulling it over. In all transitions, there are exams. And so I gave a final exam to Dennis and Richard. And Richard is much more succinct, I must tell you. So Dennis, I've asked several questions. Dennis, what was your initial attraction to Richard? We blame it all on Naphtali. Naphtali, would you stand and take credit? I hope I haven't embarrassed you. Okay, it comes with the territory. All right. Dennis was a volunteer for Big Brother through Jewish Family and Children's Services when Naphtali was only 10 years old.
Wow.
Just how many years ago? 9, if you have to count. Okay. And would meet weekly for tutoring, talking, shooting hoops, and playing goofing around. They paid you for goofing around?
Yes.
3 years later, at Naphtali's bar mitzvah, he was introduced to Naphtali's father, Stuart, and his partner, Joel, who are here. Stand up. Yeah. Your responsibility precedes you. Thank you. After the bar mitzvah, things really began to get interesting. Unbeknownst to me, Stuart asked Naphtali's mom, Julie, if I was amenable to a fix-up. That's a strange term, you know? With Joel's good friend, Richard. Are you following? Yeah. His notes. Okay. After many back and forth emails to find out if I wanted to be fixed up with Richard, and if Richard wanted to be fixed up with me, here's what happened next. Stuart phoned Richard to see if Naphtali could stop by for a visit. Richard was delighted to see this little boy, who had now grown into an engaging young man. With the countenance of a grown-up and the face of a boy, Naphtali plopped himself into Richard's easy chair and began a journalistic quest. What kind of food do you like? What is the last movie you saw? What do you do for fun? It became clear to Richard that these were not casual questions. You're really quick. So Richard and Dennis had their first date on September 11th, 2007. Wow. And Dennis thought to himself, even if it's a bad date, it couldn't be worse than the other 9/11. Now we have reclaimed 9/11 from the worst day in history to the best day of our lives. I found my bashert. I never liked the phrase your other half. It meant to be a fraction of a person. I love the fact that Richard is a whole person who has led a life filled with experience and adventure. I love his humor, the family stories, his delight in cooking, his playfulness, and most of all, his complete, unadulterated sense of joy. And he's pretty darn cute, too. I'm not editorializing. These are the actual words on the exam. What really sealed the deal for me was the day he broke into song and serenaded me with the Pop-Tart theme. You can eat him on the run, eat him just for fun, eat him when you have a party. It took a long time to find my Richard. He is my happily ever after. Dennis, what do you respect most about Richard? He's amazingly positive and optimistic. He begins each day with a song. Actually, he really does sing.
Red Red Robin, do you still sing the Red Red Robin?
I do.
This is a one funny rabbi ceremony. Just be advised. And you have influence. All right. No.
It's all Joni's fault.
Thank you. You know what you remind me of? The fellow in the Catskills who starts off by saying, "Can you hear me in the back?" And they all yell, "No." He says, "Well, how did you hear the question?"
But sisters supposed to do this stuff?
I can take a seat if you want. Yes, they are. Good
You
sisters.
said it was an interactive wedding.
Yes, yes. See, Baptist thinks they own that, but they're not. A series of Bible studies at a black church in Oakland. The minister had just come back from Israel, and they were complaining that he was too Jewish. I said, "Don't worry, it happens to me all the time." Here's the best answer. Dennis, what do you and Richard have most in common? OMG, in caps. We're both Jersey boys. We love the same music. Old dames singing jazzy show tunes. We love to watch pre-coded movies of the 30s. We have strong ties to family. From food we prepare to the pot it was cooked in. And dishes and silver it is served in. Food just tastes better prepared in Richard's grandma's gefilte fish pot and my grandma's brisket pot. When we were in our teens, Richard was president of the Jersey Federation of Temple Youth, and I was the vice president. It happened 1 year apart, so we never met. Richard worked for Bank of America, and a week after he left, I started working there. His former assistant, Tammy, became my assistant. Stand up. Tammy, everybody has to applaud Tammy. Tammy, you didn't know it, but you have what you call muzzle. To have two bosses like this. All right. We're fortunate. People often say to us, "It's a pity you never met sooner." Funny thing, we honestly believe we met at exactly the right time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Life taught us the lessons we needed to prepare for each other. We wouldn't have it any other way. When we first started dating, my friend Ted said to me, "Do you think two center stage personalities can work in a relationship?" Funny, they said that to me at my wedding. It's true, neither of us shy away from the spotlight. Yet we know when to step back and be the one who's applauding the loudest for the other. I am Richard Secunda's biggest fan. Dennis, what are your differences with Richard? I am tenacious. I'll stay up for hours fixing appliances. Good to know. Figuring out a computer program or touching up a paint job. Richard has patience. To a point. Then he must stop and recharge himself in his favorite recliner. Dennis, what are the most significant contributions Richard has brought into your life? Richard gets me. He is my calming influence who helps put everything in perspective. He has helped me to stop and enjoy the simple pleasures and keep me from dwelling on the negative. He has brought endless joy into my life. He wakes up every day with a smile and starts to sing as he prepares breakfast. He often says to me, "Have I told you that I adore you?" Honestly, Rabbi Ira, who wouldn't fall in love with someone like my Richard?
Good answers.
Off the chart, the answers that I get.
Yeah.
Yes. Flying colors. Here's some good ones too. Richard, is there anything special you would like to have in our ceremony? See Dennis's notes.
You all have something to learn.
Richard, what was your initial attraction to Dennis? He is a completely engaging guy and a great storyteller with a huge heart. He made me laugh, and the first evening we spent together went from drinks to dinner to a very long walk. And so I felt engaged that it just flew by. And then, of course, he gives me a website. Richard, what do you respect most about Dennis? I respect the kind and respectful way he treats people. One of the things he likes most about his work is his input and feedback create an opportunity for him to improve the experiences of hospital patients. If anyone important in Dennis's life needs advocacy or help, there's nobody I know who will work harder than to provide such support. Who wouldn't be happy to have such a spouse? And, Richard, what do you and